Now, let's begin by telling you that parents of the abducted Kuriga school children say the last 17 days have been grueling. They are, however, hopeful that they will soon be reunited with their loved ones, as the government has given assurances that the released school children will be arriving in the state from Zamfara today. Marvelous Obamanu reports.
It's been a mixed feeling for parents of the abducted Kuriga school children. Jibril Kuriga, one of the parents, says his life will not remain the same as he awaits the return of his daughter, Fatima. It was a regular school run every day, but the 7th of March was like every other school day. However, it became different as Fatima Jibril was one of those kidnapped by the bandits. Jibril says every night in the last 17 days has been grueling nights of lonely whispers as he wishes to behold his daughter again.
Let me tell you, sometimes 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the night, I will wake up. Believe me, I will just be crying because thinking, how is she? How is she? What has she eaten? You see, I think of that because I know if say she's at home, normally before she goes to school in the morning, she eats, and then she comes back again for breakfast, and then, you know, when they close 2 o'clock, she before she goes for Islamia, you know, she takes something, you know. I'm in fact always playing with her in the house, but with her absence now, in fact, I've been feeling very bad.
Following the news of the release of the school children, for many, it was tears of joy. However, Jibril soon realized that his daughter could not be identified in the pictures being circulated by the military. He is still hoping for a miracle as the children arrive Kaduna from Zamfara State.
I've not seen anything about her. I'm just praying maybe by tomorrow I will see her. They said all the children are back. That's what they said. All of them are back. But seeing is believing.
The State Commissioner of Police has called on community leaders to provide useful information that will help to tackle the issue of criminality in Kaduna State.
I think for the residents of Kaduna, we need to just reiterate that they have to assist the security agencies. It is only by cooperating with the security agencies that they will be able to help them.
While residents await the arrival of the rescued kidnapped school children from Zamfara State, another controversy brews over the number rescued and the actual number kidnapped by the bandits. Many parents are hoping that their children will be among the lucky ones rescued. In Kaduna for News Central, I am Marvelous Oboman.
So joining us live for update on this from Kaduna State is News Central correspondent Marvelous Oboma. Marvelous, good afternoon. Now,
good
Marvelous,
afternoon.
if you can, please do tell us, keep us up to date. What's happened since so far at the State House in Kaduna? What's happening right now?
We are counting down in a matter of minutes for the children who had released yesterday to arrive the Kaduna State, government house here. As of yesterday, we were expecting that these children will arrive, but the state government decided to, allow these children undergo medical care before they are finally being reunited to their family and loved ones. So in the next 1 hour or so, we should be expecting these children to arrive the government house here in Kaduna State. And of course, we have some of their parents, relevant stakeholders, media organizations here at the Kaduna State Government House waiting for the children to arrive.
Okay, so while we are anticipating their arrival, what about the parents? What are their emotions like? Are they in any state of way?
Well, they are all in expectant mood. In fact, that expectation started since yesterday. So some of them who were here yesterday were all joyful, and in a celebrative move that they will be finally reunited to their families and loved ones. And that excitement, that happiness is still what continues today, as most of them that we've cited so far are all, happy, saying that at least that children that have been in captivity in the last 16, 17 days will be finally, they will get to see their faces. So they are all expectant that all of them will see their children here today.
So after the children arrive, has there been any definitive instructions as to what's going to happen? Are they going to be given to their parents and they can go, or would there be any other activities that follows?
Anyway, that information is still slim because we don't know the rollout of activities that may happen today. So, but we'll just keep our eyes open and monitor it as it unfolds. But definitely, once they arrive here, the government house here, the governor and a few other stakeholders will come out here to receive them, and then they will move to the council chambers where they will be allowed to sit down and then maybe debriefed and ask one or two questions, and then maybe meet with their parents, have some discussions, have some uniting moment, and then maybe if they are going back to their local government, fine, or maybe we don't know, but we shall expect to see some other activities that will happen here, but we are not privy to some of those ones.
Okay, now in terms of the parents, I'm hoping that you've spoken to at least one or two of the parents, and I'm wondering, how do they feel receiving their children? Are they telling that they will be very confident with what the government is about to do regarding the school safety initiative to send their kids back to school?
Anyway, the general atmosphere in Kaduna here in the last 2-3 weeks has been apprehensive, or of course with the ongoing insecurity. So some of them are saying that, well, what the government has done before now, they've shown some steps to ensure that such thing does not repeat itself again. And as you're aware, yesterday the governor received a team of 200 police, special intervention squad sent by the Inspector General of Police and 2 armored vehicles, all a way of forestalling such, mass kidnapping of school children and other forms of criminality around Kaduna State. So some of them are optimistic that what the government has done so far is reassuring, while some of them are still doubtful.
Well, thank you very much, Marvelous. That will be all for now. In the meantime, the Nigerian government has unveiled its strategy in response to the alarming trend of school abductions. Amidst growing concerns over the safety of school children, Commander of the National Safe Schools Response Coordination Center of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Ahmed, has said plans are underway to train newly recruited personnel of the Corps across all 36 states of the Federal Capital Territory. He noted that through rigorous training and strategic deployment, the School Safety Protection Squad will serve as a formidable barrier against threats to the country's educational infrastructure. According to the commander, the initiative highlights the growing urgency to safeguard schools in the country and ensure the safety of students. Earlier, we were joined on the news by a security analyst, Ahmed Musa Hussaini, who shared his thought on this.
The Safe School Initiative has not been effective in preventing the abduction of schoolgirls in Nigeria, because from 2014 to now we have 10 years, of learning from such experiences, but abductions still occur. There are many factors, but I think one of the most important is the failure of leadership. Yes, we agree that there are, hundreds of thousands of primary and secondary schools scattered across northern Nigeria or the northwestern Nigeria, where this mass kidnapping has become, a very prevalent issue. But then the government has the ability to actually map out the high-risk areas and then employ adequate strategies to protect them, to ensure that school children are actually adequately protected from this kind of attacks. So I think that it is actually failure of leadership in general. And I don't think, unless we become more effective, in the implementation of this very initiative, then we cannot be able to actually achieve its objectives.
Meanwhile, the Nigeria police have deployed another 200 personnel to Kaduna State as part of a special intervention squad to tackle banditry. This was made known on Sunday by Governor Uba Sani while unveiling the squad and special carrier vehicles, including 2 armored personnel carriers. The governor also expressed gratitude to the police for their role in ensuring the safe rescue of the abducted Kuriga school children.
I also want to commend the Inspector General of Police for helping us in sending a full squad of mobile police that were deployed to Kuriga community last week. As we are speaking, we have a full mobile squad also in Kuriga. I also want to commend him for supporting us to see that we bring back our children who were abducted from Kuriga community. I'm happy that they are back home now, They are with us, and police have played.
And in a startling turn of events, Nadeem Anjarwalla, one of two Binance executives detained in Nigeria, has reportedly fled. He reportedly fled from an Abuja guest house where he and his colleague were being held. Sources said Anjarwalla escaped after being escorted by guards to a nearby mosque for prayers. The British national, who also holds Kenyan citizenship, is suspected to have left Abuja via Middle East airline. The two executives were detained in February amidst the crackdown on cryptocurrency exchanges. Nigerian authorities are now working tirelessly to apprehend Anjarwalla and determine his intended destination. And let's take a short break now, and we'll be back with more news inside the hour. Welcome back. And still in the northern region, in a bid to reduce carbon emissions and combat climate change, the Borno state government has launched an electric vehicle initiative aimed at promoting the adoption of clean energy in the transportation sector. News Central's Umaru Kirawa tells us more in this report.
A walk of 1,000 miles, they say, begins with a step. A soundless fleet of electric vehicles frontally challenging the use of fossil fuel and to ensure friendly environment. The electric vehicles have been deployed since, crisscrossing the capital city of Borno State, providing affordable transportation for citizens who are recovering from the shackles of insurgency.
Before we are paying 150 naira. Now, using this electric vehicle, we are paying 50 naira per drop. And this electric vehicle is comfortable.
Today, kuru palliative sunada mota sola idare zoro tala banadana kumaro sarara iwadoi isi lerro saptina mare na shashalan suro men kasi fitul so moto shari bana siri am soda lero sekana na kado bara gomna zoro askarnena huwa soro kurumo wajina moto shari andiro sara.
Gaskiya da so samu ne wannan motocin in an fara kaiwa ma mutanen Damasak wallahi za mu ji dadi. Kai mu a yanzu dai kam kafin motan ya kai ma mu mun gode a gwamna.
I met with Bukar Modu, one of the supervisors of the electric vehicles in Maiduguri, who gave me more information about the initiative.
It's such a beautiful car that I intend to take a ride, but unfortunately I do not know how to drive electric vehicle yet. But then I will learn since it is here in Borno, and of course the people are massively happy with the deployment of this electric vehicle.
Inda a ce ba motar nan gaskiya kamun ka ga mai yawo a azumin nan zai wuya, amma alhamdulillah yanzu kaman ba azumi kowa yana yawo, kuma in ka bada naira 50 ko min nisan drop za a sauke ka.
Idan ba wuta za a tayar a yi caji, so duk zaman da suke motoci suke yana suna caji ne, in suka yi caji za su je su aiki, ran da ba su yi aiki ba za ga garin ma akwai problem na passenger, amma idan motocin suna aiki za ga garin is quite abin nan, ko ina mobility na yawo a cikin gari ta ko ina da ko ina. Gaskiya an samu ci gaba sosai a nan.
The vehicle is said to be part of commitment to transforming Borno State into a thriving urban hub.
The governor has done everything possible. We have enough vehicle to cover the basic needs of our people.
I want you to maintain this very important fleet and make sure that you bring down the cost of transportation. The cardinal objective of establishing the mass transit program is to reduce the hardship of the community.
Now, when the use of electric vehicles becomes very popular and common, the big question is who will consume the petrol produced by Nigeria, which is the mainstay of the country's economy.
This initiative has brought a remarkable transition in the transportation industry, creating new employment opportunities for mechanics, electricians, and charging station operators. While combating climate change remains a global challenge, no effort is said to be little in such quest for reduced carbon emissions and sustainable environment. In Maiduguri, for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
And now, from writing a new constitution to tasking citizens in Nigeria's political class to imbibe the spirit of patriotism. These, among several others, were recommendations proffered at an annual lecture and book launch in Nigeria's capital, Abuja. The lecture, with the theme Reclaiming Nigeria's Future, Strategic Frameworks for Advancing Transformative Change, reviewed the current economic and political situation in the country, proffering far-reaching recommendations to governments to initiate widespread reforms and change. Amadou Uyi reports.
With over 200 million in population, including vast deposits of petroleum and solid minerals, many agree that Nigeria is greatly blessed.
Nigeria has so much talent, so much resources, so much potential. There is no excuse for the challenges we are facing now.
Despite these, Nigeria continues to suffer from economic challenges, unable to harness both human and material resources in abundance. With this in mind, citizens from all walks of life converged on Abuja for the annual Professor Benedicta Egbo lecture series and book launch, aiming to x-ray current situation in the country and proffer far-reaching recommendations needed to catalyze change.
It's an opportunity to discuss, it's an opportunity to share strategic ideas of how to transform the country in ways that will help us to achieve the Nigeria of our dreams.
After several key presentations aligning with the theme of the lecture, Reclaiming Nigeria's Future, Strategic Frameworks for Advancing Transformative Change, several in attendance proffered far-reaching recommendations for government to adopt.
What we need the president to do is to come up with a presidential fiat by ensuring he writes the National Assembly on the need to reconstruct the constitution based on existing proposals in view of the confab report of the previous administration, in view of the need policy and SDG goals and proper documents. Even 1963 constitution needs to be mashed together.
We need more people. We need Nigerians to develop the habit of patriotism. They didn't know that Nigeria is our country. We have no other country than Nigeria. And no matter what happens, wherever we go in life, we must come back home.
They say all citizens must participate in their efforts to bet a new Nigeria. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadou Uyi.
President of Nigeria's upper legislative chamber, Godswill Akpabio, has presented a compelling argument in favor of stepping up parliamentary diplomacy. Akpabio was speaking during the 148th Assembly of the Inter-Parliamentary Union and related meetings in Geneva, Switzerland. He asserted that parliamentary diplomacy plays a crucial role in attaining global peace and resolving disputes. The Senate President also called for more progress in parliamentary diplomacy, adding that though the Nigerian Parliament has explored the concept and made some gains, more can still be done.
From Nigeria, we tried our best in Angola, and we failed to lend a collective voice towards what is happening in Gaza. Today, the world is very expectant. We must drop ego. It has nothing to do with which country brings a proposal. The basic tenets of humanity demand that we live here with resolution for the rest of the world, to show that we have humane feelings in us. The issues are very clear. If you notice what the proposal from 12+, they attempted to even marry the proposals from South Africa. And South Africa, yes, they have a right to be emotional. But we have children who are dying, even as we are talking now. We have people who cannot see water to drink, even as we are talking now. We have those who are...
Now, persons living with disabilities have called on Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu to appoint a Minister of Humanitarian Affairs from their community. They say this will ensure that humanitarian initiatives and interventions reach the desired recipients, as the minister will have a hands-on experience of working with the disability community. Now, they made this call in Abuja as they converged on the Unity Fountain to pray for the nation, calling on God's intervention to help Nigeria surmount its current challenges. Amadou Uyi reports.
They converged on the Unity Fountain in Abuja, over the current economic situation in the country. The group, persons living with disabilities from both the Christian and Muslim faiths, said there is a need to intervene on behalf of the country.
For our efforts to yield positive results, prayer is one powerful weapon that brings answer quick to every endeavors of humanity. And that is why he deemed it fit in his wisdom that at this holy month of Ramadan, that God hears and answers prayers of people, that we need to call upon the Almighty God to intervene in the affairs of Nigeria, in the areas of security and economic hardship that we are currently facing.
Sin is a factor that brings what? Out of terrorism, out of banditry, out of kidnapping. All is as a result of something we have neglected, something we are not doing, something both the lead and the leaders are not doing, and have resulted to this, a neglect. So when we now return back to God Almighty in prayer, in seeking His face, forgiveness is inevitable by God. He will definitely forgive us.
No one is happy with the situation of things. And as you know, the economic crisis or the hardship in this country is seriously biting on us, we persons with disability. It's seriously biting on us. And we have gathered here, you can see both the Christians and the Muslims, we are all praying for God to intervene.
They also called on President Bola Tinubu to appoint one of their own as the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation. They say this will help the minister connect and reach out to members of their community in need.
The non-performance of the honorable ministers in the Minister of Humanitarian and Poverty Alleviation, which is the main ministry of persons with disabilities, where 95% of activities there is meant for persons with disabilities. So why shouldn't they listen to us in appointing persons that will be the Minister for Humanitarian?
That Mr. President will look at us as our voice to the voiceless of 35 million people in Nigeria, to give Dr. Halima Adenike Joshua that seat of the Minister of Humanitarian and Poverty Alleviation in this Nigeria.
They are also calling for more inclusion in government, saying they want to be involved in the decision-making process of the country. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadine Uyi.
And now to health news. The Minister of State for Health and Social Welfare, Dr. Tunji Alausa, has reiterated the call for a total ban on imported medical syringes. This is to encourage local production and boost the nation's economy. Alausa made the call during a visit to the Afri Medical Manufacturing and Supplies Limited syringe factory in Ogun State. He was accompanied by the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Mrs. Doris Uzo Anyete, and also Director General of NAFDAC, Professor Mojisola Adeye. The minister affirmed that restructuring local syringe and needle production will guarantee the availability of high-quality Nigerian-made products in the market. This, in turn, will generate lucrative employment opportunities. Alausa stated the federal government is determined to support the local manufacturing sector to enhance its contribution to the nation's gross domestic product. Now to discuss this, I am joined by MD CEO Firm Care Diagnostics and Medical Services, Dr. Dolamu Jawondo. Good afternoon, sir. Welcome.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for having me.
Grand. Now, a few questions for you. What are the potential benefits of banning imported medical syringes and encouraging the local production?
It's good news, and it's encouraging news, and I would like to address it from 2 points of view. One is the economic factor, and the second one is the medical factor. One of the advantages of this is that the medical factor is that if we are producing needle and syringe for medical care locally in Nigeria, we would be producing enough for the local content as well as for the local community. And that means that we would have ready supply of medical syringes every time we need them. And we won't be subjected to the innuendos of importation. as well as the forex. The other aspect of it is economically, this is creating employment. This is improving on the socioeconomic status of the Nigerian state. And this also has a way of helping the healthcare system as well. So I think it's good news.
Well, like you said, it's going to help the economy with providing employment. It's also going to help save on costs. But however, are we also looking at standards? Are we looking at safety? Are we looking at quality when it comes to these locally produced syringes? How do we ensure that they meet international standards?
It's very simple. We have production, we have manufacturing that we do in Nigeria that meets and even surpasses international standards in some cases. But these things have not been documented and these things have not been put to the fore. I'll give you an example. Some of the equipment that we use in Nigeria, we import them as unfinished products and come into Nigeria to come and assemble them or to come and finish them. This has a way of reducing the cost of importation and has a way of creating another opportunity. When we talk about standards, we talk about quality. We have the Standards Organization of Nigeria, and they are also saddled with the responsibility of ensuring international best practices for everything that we manufacture. When the minister was in Ogun State recently, you saw that he was there with the chairman of NAFDAC, and this is also ensuring that quality can be done. So if the agencies in charge of quality standardization of medical equipment as well as medical consumables is strengthened, we will surpass what we have in other international countries. Suffice to say, we import a lot of medical syringes that are below quality standards, but we import them. It will be very difficult for us to manufacture and get some level of pre-qualification or accreditation or certification for the things that we use. So we just have to focus on building capacity for the Standard Organization of Nigeria, for NAFDAC, and for all the other regulatory agencies that we have in Nigeria. And we will be able to churn out the best quality.
So while calling for the ban of imported syringes and promoting locally made ones, are there going to be any measures or safeguards that would be put in place to ensure that this transition doesn't go, awry? What are we doing to help mitigate any potential risks that we might have?
Now, just like everything that is manufactured locally, we know where they are being manufactured. They have batch numbers. They have numbers that we can use to track them. You understand? And just like we have medication that also has batch numbers of them, everybody can check to see the authenticity of any drug that we're buying today. It will be the same thing for medical equipment, such as implant syringes that are being manufactured in Nigeria. And interestingly, this is not the first time that we're manufacturing syringes in Nigeria. I remember as far back as about 2013, the integrated medical industry, somewhere in Choba, Rivers State, I think was under the administration of Amechi, Rotimi Amechi, I think. A disposable syringe manufacturing company was commissioned, and it was very, very huge. And how did that go? That's the guess is as good as mine. And just recently in the news as well, we also saw Jubilee Medical also exit the Nigerian.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Dalamo. Thank you for giving us all the information that we needed just now. Coming up, 3 deaths reported in Nairobi overnight floods. Details after the break. You're welcome back. News Central TV here. Now, 4 candidates in Senegal's presidential elections late Sunday congratulated anti-establishment figure Bassirou Diomaye Faye on his first round win in light of initial indications from the ongoing vote count. Meanwhile, Senegal's governing coalition backing presidential candidate Amadou Ba on Sunday said it was certain there would be a second round vote. Whoever comes out on top will be tasked with steering Senegal, viewed as a beacon of democracy in West Africa. Uncertainty reigns over the outcome of the poll, with official results not expected before the end of the week, and an absolute majority is required for a first round win. In the meantime, opposition supporters in Senegal are celebrating outside Ousmane Sonko's home in Dakar as anti-establishment candidate Bassirou Diomaye Faye appears to be closing in on victory over government candidate Amadou Ba. Uncertainty reigned over the outcome of the polls, with official results not expected before the end of the week and an absolute majority required for the first round win.
Elle est presque acquise, hein, parce que d'après ce qu'on voit, d'après les chiffres qui viennent de tomber là, mais je vous dis qu'il n'y aura pas de deuxième tour. On va gagner ou bien on pourra gagner à plus de 60%, Inch'Allah. On est sûr de ça. Mais on a que de la fierté. C'est le fruit d'un travail abattu depuis 2019, 2020, 2021. À partir de 2021, on a vécu de nombreux problèmes de par ce gouvernement. Donc voilà, on ne peut qu'être content et continuer le travail parce que les Sénégalais nous attendent vraiment. On a un sacerdoce en fait. C'est le travail, la réussite. Le travail, c'est le fruit de la réussite. Donc,
Vous verrez un Sénégal qui a vraiment changé. Vous allez voir un autre visage des Sénégalais du Sénégal parce que c'est une révolution totale. Tout va changer. Du côté comportement, côté social, côté financier.
Now joining us on the news is David OAB, convener, Model ECOWAS Summit and political analyst. You are welcome. Good afternoon.
Yes, hi, good afternoon, my brother. How have you been?
I've been good. Good to have you here, David. Now, can you please provide us with a little bit of insight into the mood and atmosphere among voters and supporters of the presidential candidate in Senegal, especially in light of the conflicting reports about the election outcome?
I think that in terms of the elections currently going on in Senegal, I think that largely it's been good. Results have started coming in, and just like you reported a few moments ago, some candidates have actually congratulated the leader of the opposition party. And so for me, largely it's good news for Africa, it's good news for West Africa. And then I must also congratulate His Excellency Macky Sall for ensuring that the elections largely have been very peaceful. You know, from sometime last month, there have been concerns with regards to the fact that the president, has actually postponed the elections to sometime December. The Constitutional Commission stepped in and said that no, Mr. President, what you're doing was not constitutional. And then that decision has to be reversed. So generally, this is good news. Reports also cite that for some young people in Senegal, they see this election as an election for young people. So largely, I'm very excited about what is happening in Senegal, and I say that this is a plus to our democracy, especially in Africa and West Africa. Mind you, Senegal until recently has been cited as one of the politically stable countries in Africa. And for whoever emerges the winner of this election, I think that we need to ensure that the peace and democracy of Senegal is sustained.
So David, with the government candidate Amadou Ba calling it close, that's the vote, what could happen if there should be a second round vote? Well, how are the candidates preparing for that, and how are the parties themselves preparing? What could they employ? What strategies could they employ if they have to go to a second round vote?
I think that this is elections, and in every elections there are two outcomes. The first outcome is for you to win 50% plus, or the elections go into a runoff. Whoever wins the elections first round has a responsibility to reunite the country, to ensure that the country is transitioned into a peaceful era. If the elections goes into a runoff, then that means that the leader of the current ruling party and then the opposition that have a responsibility to ensure that the country is reunited, and let the country go into a runoff. And whoever emerges a leader also has an additional responsibility to ensure that the country is united.
Well, thank you very much, David. That will be all for now.
All right, thank you for having me.
The Pan-African Parliament is holding elections for members of the Bureau. The elections will fill the positions of President, Vice President, and 4th Vice President of the Bureau, which became vacant following elections and unconstitutional changes of government in some of the African Union member states. The elections will take place as part of the agenda of the PAP extraordinary session and will be held on Monday afternoon. This follows after the Executive Council decision of the African Union Summit held in February 2024. The ministerial session was worried about situations at the Pan-African Parliament and called for the urgent convening of the extraordinary session to fill the vacant positions.
Mine is on Chief Charumbira, and the reasoning is that Chief Charumbira has been there in this pub when it started its inception in 2004. He has been there as a vice president. Institutional memory, political stability, continuity. When we elected Chief Charumbira in 2022, we said it's a 3-year term. So he has not finished the term. We're left with one year. It would be crazy to think about changing, bring a new person who has no experience whatsoever. So we want continuity, we want PAP to work.
So our candidate is Mao Sampa from Zambia. The reasons why we brought forth this candidate is that we want a Pan-African Parliament that is stable, that is free, that is accountable, and where the president can speak honestly and frankly about the issues that we face on the continent. If you look at things happening in Mozambique, in South Sudan, in the Sudan itself, in Nigeria, in Mali, there's been terrorist attacks where our African people are being terrorized every single day. We need a president that can speak about those issues and help our people. And I've seen there's a lot of narratives being spread around to say he's too young and all that. Look, politics is not about age. Politics is about wisdom, the understanding to deliver that which should be delivered to our people. This institution, the Pan-African Parliament, must be able to lead that direction alongside the African Union. And so that is why we've come forth to submit a candidate and to speak to the delegates, to say, give our candidate a chance. And we're not just asking them to give us a chance because we are going to make a political mistake if we do that. We need to outline to them that which we want to achieve, our policy direction, our views, our vision going forward. And that is what we are bringing forth.
Now, tragedy struck in Kenya's capital city overnight as relentless downpours caused widespread chaos and claimed lives. According to authorities, at least 3 individuals perished in the severe flood, including a brave police officer who tried to save families trapped in Nairobi's Kumunkunji neighborhood. Heartbreaking scenes on social media showed cars submerged and motorists stranded as floodwaters paralyzed the city. The situation escalated as sections of the Nairobi Expressway, a crucial artery connecting the airport and the capital, became impassable, with toll roads officers directing traffic through the chaos. Meanwhile, meteorologists have warned of continued heavy rains over the incoming days, potentially worsening the dire situation. And now business. The Organized Private Sector of Nigeria, OPSN, is contemplating legal action against commercial banks in Africa's largest economy for failing to fulfill forex requests, leading to prolonged delays. Additionally, OPSN demands a thorough audit of the Central Bank of Nigeria's forex backlog payments, disputing the Apex Bank's session of clearing all valid backlogs. OPSN members criticize a lack of transparency and disclosure in the CBN's backlog settlement process, despite a recent stakeholders meeting convened by the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, including NACCIMA, MAN, affected banks and customers, where discussions were held on March 21st, 2024. The threat of litigation persists. This underscores the dissatisfaction among OPSN members regarding the handling of forex backlogs and their determination to seek legal recourse. And Nigeria's Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment has mandated applicants of the presidential conditional grant scheme to submit their national identification numbers to assess and access grants aimed at mitigating the impact of recent economic reforms on businesses. The scheme managed by the Bank of Industries, which plans to disburse 200 billion naira across 3 funding categories to support manufacturers and businesses nationwide. This directive aligns with new regulations from the Central Bank of Nigeria requiring citizens to link their NIN with their bank accounts. Trade Minister Doris Anyete announced the requirement via her official communication platform. This move underscores the government's efforts to enhance financial transparency and compliance with regulatory measures while providing critical support to businesses amidst economic challenges. And in football, Fenerbahce defender Bright Osai Samuel faces the possibility of arrest at Istanbul's airport upon his return to Turkey after fulfilling his international duties with the Super Eagles this week. Turkish sports newspaper Fotospor reports that the individual dubbed the knife-wielding joker who disrupted the match between Trabzonspor and Fenerbahce on March 17th has filed complaints against the players who confronted him on the pitch, sparking chaos. Statements are anticipated from Istanbul, Osai Samuel, and Irfan Khan Egribayat. However, Osai Samuel's statement cannot be obtained currently as he is still with the Nigerian national team in Morocco for an upcoming friendly against Mali's Eagles on Tuesday night. And as the African Oceania Olympic qualifiers in Alexandria, Egypt wrap up, Ashton Mutua has earned his spot among Nigeria's wrestlers heading to the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. The American-born wrestler from Plateau State showcased remarkable strength, defeating South Africa's Justin Van Zyl with a decisive 16-8 pinfall, securing his place in the Olympics. Mutua, who recently declared his allegiance to Nigeria over America, will be making his Olympic debut in Paris. Meanwhile, Nigerian wrestler Harris Owonowiwowo competed in 86-kilogram category, narrowly missing out on an Olympic slot to Australian Jaden A. Lawrence, losing in a 4-4-point criteria decision. And that's all this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of our major stories. Detained Binance executive Anjarwalla has escaped from custody in Nigeria. Nigerian government has unveiled plans to stem abduction of school children. We also told you that 4 presidential candidates have congratulated opposition figure Faye on first-round win in Senegal elections. Send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on your screen currently. Now, you can also follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, or Avo TV and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. My name is Mazino Appeal.